I mean, listen, you've always been a great one to interview because I can take the interview off because you can talk for me. But I was going to go back to the beginning because, I mean, you grew up in West Germany. How old were you when you started the guitar?
I was 9 years old, but I started being a musician since I can ever remember. 3 years old, singing, singing, and singing, and 5 years old playing, cooking pots, drums. I love drums. And there was a little piano, a toy piano. There was a violin of my dad. Obviously, they had fun playing music, but they never really, developed into anything. But they just had fun. And so, it was always, my focus was always pure self-expression, putting three notes together, creating goose pimples, not competing, just having fun. Kid in a sandbox, just play and discover, And when I discovered Gary Barden, when I started the Michael Schenker group, I was so happy because he had little ego and he joined me in my sandbox. He was more than happy. And so we had so much fun together. I discovered the infinite spring of creativity very early in my life. And that's where I take my inspirations from, other than, the help of how to play guitar, how to start playing guitar, from Leslie West, Jeff Beck, and Tony, and I mean, so many, 60 guitars, Johnny Winter, Rory Gallagher, Jimmy Page, all of these people, but I never focused on anything to have an impact in general. I was not interested in impact. I was interested in the beauty of music.
Do you think, I know when I spoke to you a few years ago, you said you wanted to come to England and join a British band, which you did, of course, with UFO at a very young age. Do you think growing up in a divided country may have had anything to do with your ambition? Because I've spoken to musicians who, for example, grew up in Northern Ireland in the 70s when they had troubles there, and it shaped the way they wrote songs, what they sung about, their ambitions changed. Coming from West Germany at a time when it was divided, there was the West and the East, did it make you want to get out more? Did it mean you had more things to focus on or write about? Did it have any impact in your musical direction or ambitions?
Basically, I was still in Germany when the impact happened, from people like Jimmy Page, Leslie West, and Jeff Beck, etc., as I was only 14 years old. It came to the point when I realized that in Germany, everything was dead. What I was doing was not being understood. And there was disco music, there was no management. Musicians were not accepted as a profession. And so I said, there's nothing I can do here in Germany. I have to go to England where people can understand. I mean, music was established to its highest, with Zeppelin and all of these, it was unbelievable. I wanted to be in England no matter what. And I didn't care what band it was. And when, maybe Predestined, UFO showed up, and they heard me play and they invited me. And I always said to the Scorpions, if an English band will ever ask me to join, I will join. I don't care who it is, as long as I'm in England. But, I ended up with UFO, which was such a unique chemistry, and so it's amazing.
Do you know, of all the albums and all the songs or that you did with UFO, the one solo, you were talking about string bending and stuff, Ain't No Baby, the guitar work and the solo on that, it sounds like slide guitar, but I don't think it is. It's beautiful.
Yeah, to be honest, I can't remember, because sometimes I actually do play guitar that sounds like slide, and actually Chris Glenn pointed out, and he didn't actually knew the difference. And but it's I love slide guitar, but not the typical bluesy way. Just very melodic, and with a lot of feel and vibrato. And so, and with its sweetness, especially also with the wah pedal that I discovered, with a particular note, with a tone that I discovered, and it became so sweet and singing. And then, of course, I kind of automatically, I was it was like I adapted playing slide-like guitar without playing slide.
If you look at your discography, it's like a big, long shopping list. I mean, so much happened through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. I mean, it wouldn't be a good rock and roll story if you didn't have your share of problems. I mean, you had issues in the 90s and probably the sort of early millennium where, you openly admit you had problems with alcohol, which, nearly derailed you. At what point did you think, I've got to change my life or I'm going to die or people are just going to remember me as a joke?
Every time I did a transition time, the biggest one was in 79 when I was actually basically fighting myself out of. I actually had a contract as a sixth member of the Scorpions with should have been a picture on the Love Drive album. They left that out, but they always hated me for having not stuck with them, because they wanted to persuade me to stay with Love Drive and go to America, because everybody was going crazy in America, managements in the business, that I was joining. I mean, there was big hope, and of course it was a bummer for the Scorpions, and it was a hard time. So every time I had a transition time, I had really, really like a kind of a year of figuring out what is going on and to find the next step, But that was parts of it. The main thing was stage fright. Yeah. Stage fright was the problem. I was too sensitive, especially when I was young, 16, 17, 18, very, very fragile. And that's why I got scared from the Rolling Stones call, Somebody called me up asking me if I wanted to audition for the Rolling Stones, and I mean, I was shocked when I heard that, because I just joined UFO. I never called back. I never took the telephone number, and I was happy with UFO. It was a big enough step for me. The Rolling Stones, I don't even think I would still be alive today. I mean, it would have been too overwhelming.
That seems a good point to play Doctor Doctor. Speaking about issues that Doctor could help you with, Doctor Doctor from UFO. Now, when I first met you about 6 or 7 years ago, I remember you said the same thing. You say you don't listen to music. Is this true? And more to the point, if you don't listen to music, why not? You're missing out on forget being a musician, just the delight that music can bring. Why do you not listen to music?
I did my fair share. I had a Robert Plant. I mean, I had Robert Plant too. I had Jimmy Page. I had all the 60s guitarists. They gave me enough. And that's what led me to understand, wait a minute, why shall I do what everybody else is already doing? Why not doing something that comes from you deep inside? And people discovered that in the 80s. That's why they copied what I did. And that's why I became an original guitar player. If nothing else, I created a trend. And if I would not inject freshness to the trend, maybe rock would have died a long time ago, that trend of rock. I wasn't afraid of losing out. In fact, I don't listen to any music. I never have the radio on. I never have anything on other than the TV with low noise, just to keep company. Also not listening to music also kept me fresh, not overexposing myself and getting tired with all of that, everybody doing the same over and over and over and over. And at some point it dies, Yeah. It just becomes stagnant. It's like it's nothing there anymore,
Yeah. Now, I know you sort of alluded to it earlier about the lies of the Love Drive album. I was going to ask, I will ask, because it seems to change year on year. How are you and your brother? How are you and Rudy personally and professionally? Because at any given year, you might be quiet, then you seem to dislike each other a lot. You might be arguing.
I don't. No problem at all. It's simply this way. Rudolph is the exact opposite of me. He wants to be Elvis Presley and Rolling Stones, and I just want to be Michael Schenker. And so that is a black and white, opposite. Everything I do, he does the opposite. And so we actually have been separated, for 50 years. And it had to be that way. Otherwise, we wouldn't have turned out how we did. I love Rudolph as a brother, but social distance is needed so I don't get tricked into any inconvenient situations. He's 7 years older. I was always the younger kid with the talent. It just creates turbulence. For all these years, I never had any bad feelings towards him, until I heard the lies on the Lonesome Crow story. And from then on, it opened a can of worms.
So I was going to say, birthdays, Christmas, do you message each other? Do you speak at all in life?
No, like I just told you, it's distance.
Yeah.
Even if I just make one phone call to him, he takes everything I inform him with, and he creates something with it. Rudolph is like a bloodsucker. He sucks my blood. It's like a vampire. He sucks everything that I have, and he told me thousands of times what a great guitar player I am. I said to him, "Shut up! I don't want to hear this anymore."
We could talk for hours and hours and hours. You have achieved so much. You've done plenty. I mean, we're in this weird world where there is so much uncertainty, where we're hoping that things will start to unlock and people can play and tour in 2021 or 2022. Dare you make any plans? What are your short to medium term ambitions now? Because you've done a lot. Well, what are your ambitions now?
Yeah, I'm fulfilled. First of all, I live in the now. I don't really plan anything. I just go and make the best of it, just like I did with the latest album, 50th anniversary, which I feel like it's a gift from heaven, telling me, Michael, this is a gift for you for staying true to yourself for all these 50 years. And that's how I feel. I mean, absolutely blessed.
I like the way you've almost come full circle from the years, the very young Michael in Germany, desperate to join a British band, whoever it was, to the point now you've taken the UK as your home. Am I right? You live in England, the south of England now?
Yeah, for 10 years. I pay tax.
You're one of us. Oh, it's been fantastic catching up with you again. And we should play something off the latest album. I think Sail the Darkness is kind of appropriate for where we are at the moment. So how about we finish with that one?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the interview. Keep on rocking and take care.